Good evening. It is 6 p.m., May 14th, 2025, and I would like to open the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for this evening. I'd like to announce that this meeting is being televised live on local cable channel 8 and 1072 HD. If we could all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next, does anyone have a public comment regarding anything not related to any agenda items tonight? If so, please check in with Mary Ann, 2 to my left, and you can have 3 minutes to make your comment. Anyone? I see none. Thank you. Next, after every public hearing, I will reach out to the audience and ask for public comment. If for some reason I forget, please remind me. I make mistakes. I'm not, perfect, so I hope that I don't make that mistake, but if I were ever to, please raise your hand and I will listen to you. It's our job to listen to everybody in the audience that chooses to speak. Tonight, let's see, it'll be the 4 regular members.
Three.
Yeah, 4. And then we're just going to skip between George and Charlie. That work? And so for the first one, why don't we start with George? How's that? So it'll be 4 plus George. Okay. Charlie, would you like to read the first public hearing, please?
Sure. Me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, for the date of May 14th, 2025, continued hearings, Zoning Board of Appeals of Mashpee. 7 Pine Avenue. Owners David Baskin and Alina Goldman, trustees of the 265 Fells Pond Road Realty Trust, request a special permit under 174-17.1 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace an existing single-family dwelling with a new single-family dwelling on property located in an R3 zoning district, map 123, parcel 30, Mashpee, Mass., continued from 3/6/25 at the request of the attorney.
Gentlemen, could you remind us why this was continued, please?
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Eric Brainsky. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Brainsky Levinson, here on behalf of the applicant. My understanding, and I wasn't here the last time, my son's 12th birthday, was that it was continued because there were new plans and data provided to the board that evening that the board hadn't had the ability to really review. And there was a handful of outstanding, what I would term as kind of housekeeping items.
Could you speak into the mic a little bit?
Sure. A couple of what I would term engineering type housekeeping items that needed to be addressed in advance of this hearing, which we believe we've done. I have Mr. Didd here, who is from Cape and Islands Engineering. One of the issues that we needed to address from the last time was, and it's a concern of the neighbors, is the drainage and making sure that all drainage is going to remain on site. Mr. Dibb can explain how that is going to be accomplished, but the one slight plan change from the last time that is on the plans that you're seeing in front of you is we've added 1 extra dry well in the northwest corner of the property to just add kind of a belt and suspenders approach to the drainage. It's I don't want to say it's superfluous, but it's certainly extra from what would be required under the Mass stormwater regulations, but we want to make sure we are good neighbors. We have received septic approval. You've seen the comments from the Board of Health saying no comment as to anything further. And there were some modifications to the architectural plans. The architect is also here this evening if you had questions for her, along with my client. So I'm happy to take questions, Mr. Chairman, or I could turn it over to Mr. Dibb to...
What I'd like to do, do we have any letters that need to be read into the record? Even if they're old letters, why don't we reread them so that we can understand and be brought up to speed? How's that?
We have 1 abutter letter.
Yeah. Could you read that, please, Charlie?
We have 2, don't we?
There's 2, Charlie.
Okay.
I have, yeah.
Why don't we read one and Sharon can read the other? How's that?
The one that I have is the letter dated May 9th, 2025, from Peter Radell to Marianne Romero, and relative to 7 Pine Avenue. Although I am currently planning on being at the ZBA meeting on the 14th of this month, I would appreciate it if this comment might be included in the packet for 7 Pine Avenue hearing. It would be, in my opinion, in the best interest of the neighborhood in which 7 Pine Avenue is located if the board would consider a stipulation in granting the applicant's appeal that there be no runoff from this parcel onto the abutting street, Pine Avenue. My request for the board is to take under advisement and possible inclusion in the approval is based on an existing flooding problem at the nearby and downslope intersection of Pine Avenue and Shore Drive. Currently, there are 2 catch basins installed, and during heavy rain, they are unable to handle the runoff. The applicant has shown, I believe, an intent to install a dry well to handle runoff that will be located quite near the existing catch basins. This dry well will concentrate runoff from the building in one compact area instead of throughout the property, which will leach into the catch basins, further hindering their ability to disperse runoff. The lesser amount of runoff that can be kept off Pine Avenue, the better able our efforts to restrict flooding can be accomplished. Thank you for considering my request. Peter Radell, 24 Pine Avenue.
Hi, I have a letter from D. Sockopson dated April 4th, 2025, and it's to Mary Ann. Mary Ann, I am writing to submit comments on the proposed development at 7 Pine Ave, Mashpee. My wife and I are the owners of 294 Shore Drive, the property immediately to the west of 7 Pine Ave. We are potentially affected by runoff from the existing site. I have set forth our comments below. First, the garage in the front area show an impermeable driveway. As I understand it, an applicant is not allowed to discharge runoff from their property, especially when it will exacerbate an existing problem. I refer to the problem at the corner of Pine and Shore Drive, where during normally heavy rain events, runoff accumulates to such an extent that emergency vehicles would have difficulty assessing Rock Landing. I request from the applicant that some sort of permeable surface be installed in the driveway and front area, but he was reluctant to do so as he believed that grass would invariably grow through whatever permeable surface is installed. However, if you review what other homeowners have done on Pine Ave, you will find that virtually all have installed permeable surfaces. If an impermeable surface is installed, I request that dry well and drain be installed to contain the runoff from the driveway area. Second, I believe the proposed elevation of the home exceeds the 35-foot maximum allowed by the town. I request that the roof is simply be lowered to bring the home within a permissible height. Third, I'm not clear how much the home will be raised up for existing grading. I request that the drawing make clear how much fill will be added to the site. I am concerned that raising the height of the site will result in an increase of runoff into our property. Fourth, I note that an expanded dry well has been added to the east side of the property. I request that a similar dry well be added to the west side of the property. Lastly, the applicant has agreed to install an enclosure of shrubbery to the air conditioning unit to reduce noise. I appreciate this accommodation and ask that his commitment be made a part of the record. I support the application and simply request that our concerns be addressed. Thank you, D. Sockopson.
Do we have any other letters, including agency letters or board letters from town?
We have Conservation and we have Board of Health.
Why don't we read those?
Conservation comment was not in wetland jurisdiction. Board of Health, bear with me. Existing house is 3-bedroom, septic is designed for 3 bedrooms, and house is in a zone 2. Floor plan revised 3/31/25 shows 1 bedroom on first floor and 2 on second floor. Board of Health has no comment.
Okay? That's the extent of the letters? Board questions? He did. You gave a presentation, right?
Yes, for all intents and purposes, I was going to turn it over to Mr. Dibb
Yeah.
for you folks to ask. But if you'd like a short presentation, we could do that.
I just asked him what was different. All right, so any board questions?
No,
So-
this is, they did what
Yeah.
was requested.
Yeah, the only concern I have is what was brought up in the letter is it's a good-sized driveway. Concrete or paver, how are you gonna contain the water on the site? I've been over there at the corner of Shore Drive and Pine. It floods bad.
Yeah, is this on? Yep, okay. Again, Mark Dibb with Cape and Islands Engineering. Two things. So first, I just want to say the existing driveway, which is this entire area, just completely just sheets flows into the roadway. Right now, you'll see we've designed a high point, and it runoff drains this way. Again, there's a high point at the road, so it drains this way. And there's also a high point over here, which drains this way. We've captured all this runoff in this large system that also captures this entry to the garage, as well as we've now added this catch basin. We originally just were draining to a low, this corner of grass, but now we've added this to pick up the runoff here. We are still at quite a relatively high elevation of 16. I'm not concerned with the letter regarding concentrating, infiltrating this area here and affecting the catch basins 100 feet away. The water we're infiltrating at this point will still go down. It won't concentrate and affect catch basins over 100
I have
feet
not
away.
looked at the test pits. How far down is water? Let's say that test pit in the northwest.
This,
Is that pit in groundwater?
no.
How much below groundwater, how much
There's-
below the bottom of the pit is the ground? How much storage do you have?
There's another 6 feet.
Really?
Yeah, because we're up at elevation 16.
Yeah.
We're not in the flood zone.
Yeah, but you're 6 feet below the bottom of
Yes.
the actual structure
Yep.
to groundwater?
Yep.
So you've got a lot of storage.
Yeah, we're up at 16. We got a 4-foot deep structure, that's 12. Groundwater's at basically 2.
So what
almost,
storm event did you design this to?
25-year through this property, through most of the property. I believe I also designed this particular area, which is half of the driveway, to the 50-year storm too. That's why this is much bigger right here.
So
Because
you're making the following statement, I don't want to put words in your mouth. In a 25-year storm, you're not going to make this situation at the corner of that intersection down there or that street any worse. You're actually going to make it better.
yes, we're going to make it much better. The entire existing house, the whole entire site naturally slopes to the road, and there was 0 runoff. We now have a dry well here, we have roof dry wells, we have
But
roof
you're
dry wells.
between now a 25 and a 50-year storm.
Yes.
Somewhere in between a 25 and a 50-year storm, you've made the situation better.
For every storm, we've made it better.
Yeah, well, at a 100-year storm, you haven't made it any better because it's going to be this, everything's going to overflow and everybody's going to have a
But
problem.
less will overflow.
Well, yeah,
But
they're all going to be swimming in the area.
Yeah.
Right? That's the
We
bottom.
hope not.
Well, no, that's what's going to happen. But bottom line is I just want to make certain that we're of record saying that between a 25 and a 50-year storm, because part of the lot was designed to 50 and part of it was designed to 25, the actual runoff is going to be reduced.
Correct, yes.
And downspouts will have to go into dry wells, so
Yeah, they
you're
already
not
have.
gonna have the roof
Yeah.
runoff that you might have now. The existing house probably aren't tied into dry wells. So all your roof runoff is contained.
Was the question of fill? Was there any fill coming in?
So, look at Phil here.
It's the height, Scott.
The finished floor is at 22.5
Okay,
of the new house. The existing is at 20.2. But the only fill, is to get in the front door. You'll see this elevation.
Front left corner. You've got Phil.
Yeah, there's between a foot and 2 feet of fill. Most of the backyard is not a fill. It's basically within a foot or two everywhere around.
The patio in the rear, is that a patio block area in the rear of the house?
Yes, it is.
How are you handling that drainage?
That is being sent this way, over to this area. And this entire,
Well, you got a 2173 at both back corners.
1,000-gallon tank there. 2 500-gallon tanks.
This is here.
It doesn't show a pipe to it.
No, I don't see it.
So the sheet drainage is coming off that, where is it going?
it's sloping to the back first. And then this is a high point
Oh,
right here on the corner.
yeah.
So this goes this way. This goes this way. This is all just grass all the way around. We could add a yard drain, into one of these pipes, but,
Well, I'm a little concerned about whomever owns the property behind the lot, right? Because when you sheet drain like that, there's nothing to pick up any surface flow there.
we are low. You can see the contours start going up. The water's not.
Yes, you're correct. You
There's
do.
22 in the back.
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
So won't that negatively impact the homeowner that's living in this house? Because the water's gonna sit on top of that patio.
We have it flowing off, then this arrow right here, we're flowing this way, and then we have it flowing this way, all the way around.
Mark,
Yeah.
may I ask you, with respect to this property, is there zero net runoff as designed? Pre-construction, post-construction?
Be very careful of your statement.
If this water from this patio is unable to infiltrate within 110 feet, another 60 feet of pervious grass area, it could make it to the water. But
And correct me if I'm wrong, in a 100-year event, it's not net, there's water leaving this site, which you can't stop. You can't
correct,
design
but
that.
but
I
again,
get it.
it's reduced.
I get it.
Yes.
And it's still, though, leaving the site, and there's no way you can stop that. I get it. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
I guess I was talking like pre-construction as existing today to post-construction.
Well, and I think that he's made the statement that between a 25 and a 50-year storm, he has
Correct.
improved the situation.
Thank you.
And anything over a 50-year storm, we start looking at water's leaving the site. It is what it is. We can't design to a 100-year storm in many cases.
It's got to go somewhere.
Exactly. I get it. But I get a little concerned about the backyard, but it's clear to me, it looks like it's not leaving the site in the backyard because of the existing grades.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, it's flowing towards the street.
Exactly.
It's,
Now, I'm not so sure I want to have a barbecue in that back patio during a rainstorm, but that's okay. That's not that's your client's problem.
yeah, we get 22 down to, well, there's 18 there.
Yeah. So there was a question about building height.
Yeah,
I presume that's going to be managed by,
the question that came up in the past about the cupola has been lowered down.
It's been corrected.
okay, so they,
That was, yeah, I disagreed about the building height. Then they have corrected it. They do have the appropriate
shows it below.
measurements from the original average grade.
It's actually,
I have no issues with it.
so you have no issues, let me ask you this question, David. Do you have any issues with this application?
No, I think, no, I don't.
Okay. All right, any other board questions? No. We go to the audience. Audience questions, please. Yes, sir, come on up if you could switch out your seat, give your name and your involvement and your address, please, sir.
My name is Peter Riedel. I live at 22 Pine Avenue. First of all, I want to thank the board for considering my written comments previously on this application. In review of the revised plans, one of my earlier comments was I was concerned about the runoff from the paved driveway. Either I misread the first plans or they have been changed, but it appears now that the garage is going to be 4 feet below road level.
Well, is that a question or a statement?
Well, that, my thought, my original comment was aimed at the fact that it was going to be a ground level driveway, which would flow out to the Pine Avenue. But if in fact the garage flooring is 4 feet below the road level, the water isn't gonna flow toward Pine Avenue, it's gonna flow to the garage.
There's a drain in front of the garage.
Yes.
There's a strip drain in front of the
The
garage.
way it is running at a 15 close to the street, 14, 13, at 1280 at the strip drain, so the water's coming to the garage.
Yes, yes. I had, as I said, I possibly had misread the original plans, and I thought the driveway was going to be on ground level or sloping toward the road. That was my error, and
I can tell you, the road at that location is a 1654. It's actually going the other way.
Right.
I gotta tell you,
I apologize for making
I
that error.
personally hate strip drains. If they fail, good luck to the garage. I hate them. I would never use them. But that's, you know what? I'm not an engineer.
Also, my comment concerned about the dry well being close to the catch basins on Pine Avenue. I was under the impression that that was only one of 2 or 3 dry wells. The new plans show 7, so I think that probably has been taken care of. Although I do know that when you fill a dry well, water is going to find its closest empty place to flow. And in theory, the catch basins will be the closest empty spot, and water will find its way there. But that's neither here nor there. Looking at the new revised plans, I have 2 or 3 questions. The answer to several of them, I believe, will be that's not within our purview. But I believe it is my opinion that with the zoning board being the final approval spot, it is their responsibility to see that those areas that may be handled by somebody else have been looked at and are okay. First of all, in that respect, the first thing I will ask is the elevator that is proposed to be in that building, is that compliant with ADA or any other regulations for a residential building?
You are correct in your statement and your thinking. Outside of our purview. Totally outside of our purview.
I realize that, but it is an answer that if there is a problem, the zoning board will be held responsible.
I'm putting an elevator in a building right now, and I don't even believe that an elevator is permitted by this town. But that would be something that you would have to check with the zoning enforcement officer. But I can tell you, it certainly is not within the purview of this board.
Okay, fine. As I
guarantee
say,
you.
I expected that.
I can tell you that resident,
Why don't you ask him, though, if the
Pardon
question?
me?
I can tell you that the permitting process is from the state,
Correct.
and it's inspected by the state yearly. As far as residential home, I don't think ADA is necessary.
Okay, again, it's a question. That's,
But you were 100% correct. It's not within our purview.
I fully expected that, as a couple of the other questions that I have, such as the sleeping quarters in that building, in the proposed building, are over the garage. Can sleeping quarters be,
I am of the
Built
opinion that
over
the
the
Board of
garage?
Health reviewed the building
I
plan.
don't think he's talking about it as a bedroom.
No,
It's-
there
he's
is a
asking, can you
fire
put
rating.
sleeping quarters above the
Okay,
garage? And yes, you can.
They are allowed.
there are steps being shown that somebody knows, that, so that.
It will comply to the building code, which has a fire
Okay,
separation.
okay, again, now, the other question I have, one of the other questions I have is septic tank. The septic tank is designed for 1,500 gallons. There are 7 bathroom areas in this proposed building.
Ditto. We are not, that's out of our purview, not in our lane.
However, the answer is to whether it has been addressed
I
should
believe
be in
there's a
your
letter from the
purview.
Board of Health. Was there not a letter saying that this was proved by Board of Health?
Yes.
Septic is, Mark can probably answer this more correctly than I can, but septic systems are designed by bedrooms, how many people living in the house. You could have 50 bathrooms in the house, it doesn't make a difference.
All
How many
right.
people living there to
All
use
right.
it.
And really-
As I said earlier, it was an answer that I expected.
Exactly.
Now, the other one of the other questions that I have is in the middle of that lot, on the edge of the road, there is a telephone pole or a light pole with a transformer. It does not show on the plans. What are the intentions? What are they going to do? How does that affect that turnaround area that they're proposing?
I don't know if that has anything to do with this, but I would ask one question. Why would it not be on the plan? I mean, you should have picked that up in the as-built?
Yeah, it's this utility.
Okay, good. I mean, I like to have plans that are correctly done, and they usually do a good job of plans, so it is on the plan then.
The owner would love to put a section of these utilities underground, but might not happen, so.
So the bottom line is, and it's really not our purview per se, it's a borderline one, right? He's saying that it is on the plan.
I don't see where it's marked.
It says it UP,
UP.
right there.
That little circle?
Yeah, and
it
says UP for utility pole.
Silly.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, so that is located inside that turnaround area. And then the other question that I have, and I was very surprised when I had discussion with Dave earlier this week, that Mashpee is one of a few communities that basically says if you pave a driveway and or have an impervious approach walk, it doesn't count toward lot coverage, which is very unusual apparently from the discussion that I had earlier. My next question is that little U area, that turnaround or what have you, is that considered driveway? What is the definition of a driveway? I mean, in my house, I got a driveway, and then I have an area in front where I park a vehicle that is pervious. Is that part of the driveway, or is it not part of a driveway? If it's a parking lot or a parking area, then if it's paved, then it counts toward lot coverage.
I don't believe so. David, would it count towards lot coverage if it's a parking spot?
We never count a driveway or even a parking
Or even a
area
parking spot, so it wouldn't
as-
matter.
Because it wouldn't work in some of these
So in
small-
this case, sir, whether it's driveway or parking, it would not be lot coverage.
Okay, I just am.
He's a zoning enforcement, that's his decision
I
to
was
make.
very unsuccessful in finding a definition of a driveway in.
That's why we have a zoning enforcement officer to make those decisions.
Yeah, okay.
The only time I could think when it's mentioned is when it's a shared driveway,
Yeah.
which is something different.
Okay. And again, this is only my opinion. But I am of the strong opinion that this proposed building is a 3-bedroom house poorly camouflaged as a five-bedroom house.
That's between the Board of Health. The Board of Health
Yeah.
reviewed the
I-
plans.
I-
Board of Health makes that decision.
Okay, fine.
I thank you
As I
for your
say-
comments.
As I say, I got what I expected. Thank you.
Well, hopefully you feel that at least you were heard, so thank you very much. Anyone else in the audience? Yes, sir. Yes, name and address and your involvement, please.
Good evening. My name is Henry Stock Beeson. I'm here with my wife Deirdre, and we are the owners of 294 Shore Drive, which is immediately adjacent to the west on the 7 Pine Avenue. We have concerns, had concerns about the runoff. There has been apparently some effort to address those, and we appreciate that. I think that this notion of there being a 25-year storm that would cause all the potential problems, Nick is my neighbor. How many 25-year storms do we have last summer? At least 2, right? I mean, I'm serious.
totally understand.
That corner floods, and it floods badly, and it floods Nick's house on occasion. And that's why we're so concerned about the runoff. And I've heard a commitment here today that the runoff will be minimized, but it's not going to be contained fully. But nevertheless, I think an effort has been.
As a board, we try to do everything we can to actually make things better, right? And so you
I
heard from
appreciate
the
that.
design
Yep,
engineer.
yep.
In a 25 to a 50-year storm, things will be better. Things will be better. Now, after that, all bets are off. There's a point in the world where you cannot control velocity of a storm. You just can't do it. And so somewhere down there, you're going to continue to get flooding. And I'm not saying you're not going to get flooding even in a 25-year storm, but the flooding should be less, meaning at the intersection. Correct, sir? There you go.
And not coming
Well,
from
there's
this
other
property.
properties.
And not coming from this
Other
property.
properties are
Yeah.
causing.
Yeah, I mean, you could
No, I've walked
blame
down
it
that-
on your own lot.
I've walked down that road when
I
it's
mean, if we looked at
raining.
if we had an engineer look at your house, we might say, hey, you're adding to this problem.
Shore Drive goes both ways there.
Yep.
So does Pine.
Yep.
You got 3 streets running in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Now, you can
understand.
take this application, and the engineer is committed to this town and this board, and he's on record, that says between a 25 and 50-year storm, it's gonna be better, meaning less flooding. So that's great. That's a good thing.
Okay. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for the efforts to do what you could do.
And that's exactly our goal.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Thank you
on
very
that
much.
basis, I don't object to the project.
Thank you very much for your input. Anyone else in the audience? Not seeing it, thank you very much. So, board questions one last time.
Done.
Okay. I'd like to get a motion to close the public hearing, please.
I'll make that motion to close.
Do I have
the
a
public
second?
hearing.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. Charlie, would you like to read a motion in reference to this application, please?
Motion relative to 7 Pine Avenue. Owners David Baskin and Alina Gluman, trustees of the 265 Fells Pond Road Realty Trust, request a special permit under 174-17.1 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace an existing single-family dwelling with a new single-family dwelling on property located in an R3 zoning district, map 123, parcel 30, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Motion. Number 1, the board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a special permit under Mass General Laws 40A, Section 9. Number 2, plot plan, prepared for David Baskin, project 7 Pine Avenue, Mashpee, Mass, date February 3, 2025, revised 3/20/25, add 30 inches deep basement window well, revised 3/25/25, revised galley system on east side, swale grading from back to front of property, revised 4/16/25, add yard drain northeast corner, prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering, stamped and signed by Mark Dibb, number 45937, and Matt Costa, number 52282. Number 3, building plans prepared for Baskin residence, 7 Pine Avenue, Mashpee, Mass, revised 4/2/2025, A1.0 basement plan, A1.1 first floor plan, A1.2 second floor plan, A1.3 roof plan, A2.1 east elevation, A2.2 west elevation, prepared by Nikolaev Architecture and Design. Number 4, condition on all town department comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Board of Health and Conservation Department comments. Number 5, any changes to the plans will require the applicant to return to this board. Number 6, condition that the applicant seek and obtain the building department review in reference to the tree bylaw, chapter 175 of the town bylaws prior to the application of a building permit. Number 7, the board finds under 174-17.1 that the proposed project as submitted is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing conditions prior to removal of the existing structure, and that there is adequate land area on the subject lot to provide sufficient parking, and there are no new nonconformities being created.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Okay.
Luck.
Thank you for your time. May I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Certainly.
What is the board's procedure for issuing a written decision? My client is anxious to join your beautiful community.
Mary Ann, could
here.
you answer that, please?
I have up to 14 days to do that, and then it gets stamped in with the clerk, and then you have to wait the 21-day appeal period.
And she is very busy out straight, so.
We
She may
understand.
take the whole 14 days.
Well, maybe we could bring her some coffee and
We'll
donuts
do
and
everything
speed
in
that
our
up.
powers. She does everything in her powers to satisfy everyone's needs, but I can tell you, lately she's.
She's doing like
I
3
understand.
jobs.
One person.
I understand. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so next one will be,
Wait a minute.
oh, that's right.
We have work to
I'm gonna
do.
sign,
John,
Did you stamp any of this? No.
there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Sign my report.
This one, right?
Scott?
Ba-ba. Ooh.
Oh, you're good. Be right back.
come back. John, cleared the room out.
There you
No, you're fine.
go. Okay, so sitting on this one will be 4 regular members and Charlie. And Charlie, would you like to read 24 Secaucet Road into the record, please?
Okay, number 2. On the continued hearings for May 14, 2025, 24 Secaucet Point Road, owners Joshua and Nicole Delman request a variance under 174-31 land space requirements and 174-33 setback to wetlands of the zoning bylaws to vary the lot coverage and setback to wetlands to allow for construction of a single-family residence on property located in an R3 zoning district, map 124, parcel 35, Mashpee, Mass., continued from 11/13/24, 12/11/24, 1/8/25 to 12/25, and 3/12/25 at the request of the attorney.
I'd like to make one statement real quick. I would recommend everybody read KP Law's decision or opinion on this case. It's very important. There's some really good stuff in here. I specifically make note of of B, which is hardship. It actually outlines what a hardship can be considered. So I think it's very important. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Attorney Chris Corain representing Josh and Nicole Delman, 24 Secaucet Point Road. As the board was aware at our last meeting, we sent it up to town council to render an opinion on the variance issues. She did submit her analysis, or opinion. Within that opinion, She asked for some additional information regarding merger and grandfathering. I had originally done an analysis before all this started, so that information has been provided to town council. I know that she was on vacation, she was on trial in the land court, so she has not given any additional analysis or opinion. So at this time, we'd be requesting a continuance to the 11th.
Yes, David?
If I could just add, I did send a request for town council, and it kind of overlapped another issue, and I think I complicated this one a little more than, than it should be, but I think it's very important we get this right and move forward, so I think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, so it seems to me town council's gonna get back to David, et cetera, and hopefully it's gonna be between you guys and not this board, it looks like.
It's possible, it's
It's possible,
possible.
but if it's, if it involves the board, so be it. But my point is, I think the decision to turn it over to town council was the right one.
Yes, I
Because I think it worked out great. So, all right, so you're asking for an extension?
Yes,
Or-
I think your next meeting is on June 11th.
So you're asking for an extension till June 11th. Is that okay, Mary Ann? Are we having a meeting at that point? We're only having one meeting that month.
I have to ask Bill's question. Are we going to run out of time? No? Okay.
So-
Because this is going since November.
Well, as long as we have an agreement with
Yes,
the board.
and he's gonna sign it. So June 11th, we're having a meeting, and that's the one meeting in the month of June, correct? Thank you. So we've got a request for the applicant to extend this application until June 11th. Do I have a motion in reference to that?
Okay, motion on the table is a request on the part of the council to extend the time from tonight until June 11th, the next date available for a zone
Okay.
meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Great, thank you.
Yep. So next one's 119 Daniel, which will be 4 regular members, and George.
Okay.
Oh, geez.
Don't jump the gun now.
Got someone
I
to
usually catch hell from you because I'm not moving fast enough.
You're doing fine.
You're moving fast today.
We can't multitask? We can't sign and,
Yeah,
Well, he's gonna sign the sheets. Oh, no, you don't. Or sheets to sign.
this is the extension sheet.
Got it.
this one's Charlie?
Charlie, yeah.
This one will be Charlie, yeah.
14, 25. Here we go. So you're out of here.
No, the next one, Nick's.
No,
Oh,
Nick come
Nick.
out, but then I gotta come back in for the other two.
Got it.
All right,
Can't hear me?
so,
Hello.
this one will be the 4 regular members and George. Charlie, would you like to read 119 Daniels in, please?
Okay. 119 Daniels Island Road. New Seabury Homes LLC request a variance under 174-33 of the zoning bylaws and Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40. Proposed construction of a single-family dwelling and associated site work shall be set back at least 50 feet from any water or wetland and property located in an R3 and within the New Seabury Special Permit District, 1964. Map 105, parcel 285 and 286, Mashpee, Mass. Continued from 4/23/25 at the request of council.
Counselor.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Robert Mills. I represent New Seabury. I'm here with Nick Galanis. At the suggestion of the board last time, we did have discussions with David, and David has rendered an opinion after his discussion with town council. I don't know if the board has seen that or not.
And we will read it into the record.
Okay, and so, and a variance is not appropriate for this particular lot. So we've requested to withdraw the variance application, and I'm hoping that might engender perhaps some further discussion this evening.
Why don't we read it in first?
Yeah, why don't we read the letter into the record, please?
I can read it in. So the Zoning Board of Appeals from David Morris, Building Commissioner. Date is May 8th, 2025, reference 119 Daniels Island Road, Mashpee. After reviewing the history and various legal opinions and rulings pertaining to the New Seabury Special Permit, NSSP, I've concluded that any proposal within the NSSP district does not require a variance from 174-33 because the district is a valid, ongoing, non-conforming use and is not creating a new non-conformity. The setback to wetlands in New Seabury already exists. Please allow the applicant to modify the request from a variance to a written finding under 174-17 and hear the proposal based on the criteria. Along with other criteria, the board must determine if the proposal is substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. Signed, David Morris, Building Commissioner.
So it would seem to me that the zoning enforcement officer has done his research in reference to the application, and he finds that there is protection of the law. That being said, he would like us to consider issuing, or at least going through a finding process. The question that begs to be asked is, can we convert tonight a variance to a finding? I'm a little concerned about that.
Doesn't it have to be advertised?
That's what I'm saying. I think to do it correctly, and we have to do it correctly, but probably would make sense. I, as one, looking at the application, I'm okay to issue a written finding somewhere down the road here. I've reviewed the application pretty heavily, and I think it should be re-advertised to give the people the right to review it, meaning it's the audience, the people, the abutters, et cetera, and we should do a written finding and either issue or not issue a written finding. I'm just saying to the applicant, I'm okay with issuing a written finding. So.
I agree with you. And one thing that David has written is, the setback to wetlands in New Seabury already exists. And that was the point of contention, really.
Exactly. So the bottom line is there is protection. So and so I think it has to be re-advertised. Marianne, are you seeing what I'm?
Do you agree with that, Mary Ann?
Do you agree also?
I do agree, and I would like to add and clarify some of my points too as well. This application does have Conservation Commission approval. All right, so it went through the Conservation, it will need ARC approval. I think you know that. It would have to go through the ARC
I believe
council.
I believe the special permit, we don't have.
You don't have
we don't
to, oh,
need ARC
because it's
approval.
in the special permit.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so maybe that won't be
Well, not so
required.
much that, it's because they're the developers. So the
Yeah.
But
developers
I
accept-
do agree with this approach, and I think that I did find out that my initial determination was incorrect. The variance is out of the picture. I do believe, and I've been talking with them, I think they can agree that a more correct way to do it is through a written finding, so we do have to, I agree that we do have to resubmit it as a written finding and send out notices to abutters. I will waive the fee for the, because I incorrectly had you already paid a fee for a variance, so the fee will be waived, but the mailing bill will have to be paid. But with that also being said, I also feel it's equally correct if I issued a permit without seeking relief for the board. But I think that because it's totally within land subject to coastal flowage, I think that the abutters should have the right to.
Well, why don't we take it, why don't we just ask the board, so that you can understand where you stand, right? Is that, I'm okay with a written finding, issue a written finding. I am okay with that all day long. What do you think, Jonathan?
Same.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
I'm fine.
So if I were you, I would follow the procedure, and I think at the end of the day, you'll be fine.
You're gonna ask Sharon?
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah. Go ahead, hit me.
I hit
Go
you
ahead.
all the time.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, and again, I apologize.
Yeah.
So there you go. So let's,
But technically, right now, we have Attorney Mills' letter before us requesting permission to withdraw the request for a variance, so we have to get rid of the variance.
Yes,
So we
please.
can start all
so
over.
we'll act on that now with the presumption you just heard the board.
I did.
Okay? Make your filing for the written finding. We'll take it from there, okay? All right, so I'd like to get a motion to accept the applicant's request to withdraw his variance.
Okay, before us, before the board is the request of counsel for the applicant to withdraw the request for a variance relative to 119 Daniels Island Road.
We are correct in that, right, Mr. Mills?
I'm
You
sorry,
are
yes.
requesting that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay?
Second.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Have a great day.
Do we need to sign something for that?
Yeah, do you need a
No,
sign?
no, now you can move on.
I can step
Hey,
out.
look at that, huh?
I can step
Trail's
out
going,
then.
yeah.
Over here, get us-
Okay, Nick Trail.
All right, so sitting on this one is going to be 3 regular members. I apologize to you, Sharon.
Oh, that's all
3 regular members and 2 associates.
you have to say.
Let's see.
Tough road.
Oh, boy. All right, so Charlie, do you want to read 42 Nick Trail into the record, please?
We are up to new hearings for the date of May 14, 2025. New hearings relative to 42 Nick Trail. Owners Paul J. Hanley and Jean J. Hanley request a special permit under 174-17.1 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace an existing, single-family residential structure with a new single-family structure on property located in the Papaneset Overlay District in R3 zoning district, map 117, parcel 306, Mashpee, Mass.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Again, for the record, Attorney Christopher Corain, representing the Hanleys, who are the owners of 42 Nick Trail. With me tonight is Mark Dibb from Cape and Islands Engineering. This is a request for a raise and replace under 174-17.1 and 174-33. The project is located within the Pompanesett Overlay District, which has a minimum lot size of 6,000 square feet, minimum frontage of 60 feet, front yard setback of 25 feet, 15-foot side and rear yard setbacks, max lot coverage of 25%, and setback to wetland of 50 feet. Because we are on 2 roads, we have 2 front yards and 2 rear yards, so 25 from both and 15 from the both rears. We have 3 nonconformities. Because the lot is wholly within land subject to coastal storm flowage, we don't have any lot area for zoning purposes. We do not meet the 50-foot setback to wetland, and we are at 100% lot coverage. We don't have any other nonconformities, so the front yard setbacks conform currently, and the rear yard setbacks conform currently. The coverage as a percentage of total area, which is 6,500 square feet, is 17.9%. We are proposing to add 314 square feet of structure coverage, which would increase the coverage percentage based on the 6,500 to 22.7%, which is under your 25% for the Pompanesett Overlay District. The front and yard setbacks will continue to conform, so we're not creating any new nonconformities. The project will be flood zone compliant. It will be building code compliant. I think my client said that this was the pizza box house. I think it was pretty shabbily constructed back in the day. So it'll be good to be flood zone compliant, good to be building code compliant. There will be an IA system installed. We're limited to 2 bedrooms, so there's no increase in bedrooms. This project was approved by the Conservation Commission. Again, there's no new nonconformities. being created. And as always, I provided pictures of the surrounding neighborhood, and certainly this is consistent with redevelopment in this area. So with that, I'm happy to turn it over to the board for any questions they may have.
What's the building? Go ahead.
Why don't we read letters from the agency in the record first, please?
Yeah, we have no abutter letters, but we have correspondence from the Board of Health and Conservation Commission. All right, first, relative to conservation. Resource areas, LSCSF. NOI application was approved with a 5-2 vote with the conditions of trees protected during construction. 2-to-1 mitigation for tree removal, pervious patio, micro clover lawn, and reduction of lawn to 15% of property lot with mitigation in place of reduced lawn area. With approval, the waiver requested for allowing more than 10% lawn was granted due to improvements to water storage capacity, reduction in annual fertilizer, and planting of trees. Relative to the Board of Health.
We just went through this,
New
didn't we?
fast system to connect to existing 2-bedroom leaching field. Floor plans show 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom on first floor and 1 bedroom on second floor. House to remain 2-bedroom in zone 2. And I believe that's the only correspondence we have.
Okay, 1 second here. Board questions?
How many driveways are they gonna be?
The driveways shown are existing. There is an existing single parking space driveway off of Bierce Road that will remain. And there's an existing paved driveway off of Nick Trail that will be, the pavement will be removed and it'll be turned into a stone driveway. So I mean, there are 2 existing and there will be 2 after that.
So when you change from a paved driveway to a stone driveway, do you then consider that, when you do your drainage calculation, as pervious or impervious?
A gravel driveway that is being used as a right-of-way or even parked on, the curve number, which is what creates the amount of runoff, is still pretty high. You get a little credit for it, but I mean, in reality, the calculations consider it pretty close, although a minor reduction in
Impervious.
from impervious to pervious, but it's still mostly impervious, or 75%.
I'm wondering why you were doing it. Were you doing it for that reason?
Yes, a little bit, and just most of these driveways in the area are either shell or stone. It's kind of just matching as well.
So
The
it
client.
looks like this was probably designed to the 25-year storm.
This one, since it's in a flood zone, you now have a zoning bylaw that does not allow fill in a flood zone. The other one was completely out of the flood zone, so there was a little bit of fill. We're trying to the maximum extent feasible, just keep the existing grades. So we're by adding dry wells for the roof, by converting a paved driveway to gravel driveway, we're still reducing runoff. There isn't per se a drainage catch basin, though, at the end of this driveway. It's an existing paved driveway sloping to the road. Now it's an existing gravel driveway sloping towards the road. So, this one, since there's less change of grade, it's a flat site, there is going to be significantly more plants and shrubs as a result of conservation. All these brown areas, except the one brown area on the exact corner of Bierce and Nick, that's an existing planted area. All the other brown areas are new plants that.
Is there considerable flooding in these areas right here, right now, that exist during a You know, a rain event?
I'm not aware, like I was aware for the other low spot. There's,
I'm
the
not
neighbors
aware
are not
either.
as concerned, obviously.
We have no input from anyone that says there is.
So, you know, I still believe we are reducing runoff from existing to proposed.
It's a question on the sewage system. So the existing system is what?
A two-bedroom system.
It's a regular,
It's just a Title V.
Oh, yes. It's a Title V system. It does pump up to an existing leach field. It's relatively new. I believe it's like 2005 or 3 or something like
But
that.
you're going to keep the system, the SAS.
Yeah, we're going to keep the leach field, yes.
you keep the leach field?
But
You're
add,
just going to update the rest of the system to a fast system.
yes.
Correct.
Okay. It's not above ground, it's,
Correct. It pumps up, but it's still not, you know, there isn't walls and
That's
it's
what I
not
mean.
raised.
Okay,
It's still
thank you.
below.
that was my question, thank you.
Which way does the proposed patio drain? How's that gonna be caught?
It is, as mentioned in the conservation comment, it is a proposed pervious patio. It does pitch slightly, again, off the property, you know, from, you see that 10.72, which is basically the bottom of the patio, and you see a 9.8 by the corner of the driveway. But a pervious patio does infiltrate very well. You know, it's designed to, you know, the holes
Between
and.
the blocks?
Yes, and then the surface below that is specifically. Sand and stone, you know, gravel that allows, unlike a compacted driveway, you know, so a pervious patio does infiltrate much better than a gravel driveway.
Is there any structure on Lot 4?
I believe everything's fully, I should be able to see it on.
There's no vacant lots.
Yeah, I don't think there's any vacant lots around there.
I'm just wondering why it isn't shown in the plan.
It looks like it's shifted, if you look on the locus map, it looks like it must be fronting the road that's, it just, at this scale, at a 20 scale, it's off the edge of.
So there is or there isn't?
There is a house, but it's as far towards the next road.
Yeah,
Do you know
so
what
that
road
being
is?
said, I get a little concerned about the microfast blower. You see the blower location? I mean, I know they generally don't smell, I get it. But if I'm living on Lot 4 and I have a pool in the backyard and it goes within 5 feet of that property line,
Yeah, you don't wanna be,
We could, a condition to have it 10 feet off the property line?
we're not the Board of Health.
Okay.
So I get concerned about even bringing it up. But I'm not so sure the Board of Health would have the ability to bring
Yeah.
it up because we meet their criteria. I'm just sitting here saying, if I'm Lot 4 and I look at this, I'd be sitting here in that audience saying, I'm a little concerned about this blower.
The owners were notified of Lot 4.
Yeah, no, I get it. So I guess really, we're still overstepping our bounds.
And there is a way to put them in the ground.
Yeah, no, I know, I put them in, I get it, but I get concerned when I see microfast blower, it looks like it's within like 2 feet of the property line. Right? Yeah. I don't know, maybe people can't read plan, I don't know,
I mean, if the board wanted to suggest, I mean, I don't want to have to come back here because we
You know
moved
what? I'm not gonna suggest a damn thing
Right.
simply because it's
It is
out of our
brown,
lane.
right.
But I'm making a statement that if it were me and I were building that house, I'd probably move that, so I wouldn't get complaints from Lot 4. But you know what, I probably shouldn't have brought it up because it's outside of our lane.
Right.
How's that?
If I move it, I won't have.
but you did.
Well, I mean, yeah, because if someone does come in here, I'm gonna say, told you.
If I move it, I don't want to have, if they move it, don't have to come back, right?
No, if you move it, I'm sure you wouldn't have
Just
to come back.
update the plan.
Yeah, just whatever. It's just, if I lived in Lot 4, I would be in the audience. That's all I'm saying to you. But, all right, any other questions of the board? No. All right, David, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay, so let me just, audience input. Well, okay, let's go again. So, we've read all the letters, right?
Yeah, we got them all.
We go back. Board, any questions from the board?
No?
Okay, ready for the motion?
Public?
All right, let's close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, Charlie, would you like to make a
Motion
motion?
relative to 42 Nick Trail. Owners Paul F. Hanley and Jean J. Hanley request a special permit under 174-17.1 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace an existing single-family residential structure with a new single-family structure on property located in the Papaneset Overlay District in R3 zoning district, map 117, parcel 306, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Number one, motion. The board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a special permit under Mass General Laws 40A, Section 9. Number two, site plan. Prepared for Paul Hanley, project 42 Dick Trail, Mashpee, Mass, date February 28, 2025. Prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering, stamped and signed by Mark Gibb, number 45937, and Jacob Frick, number 59305. Excuse me. Building plans. Prepared for Hanley Residence, date 2/26/25. Sheet 1, first and second floor plans. Sheet 2, elevations prepared by Archiflicity LLC. Number 4, condition and all town department comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Board of Health and Conservation Department comments. Number 5, any changes to the plans will require the applicant to return to this board. Number 6, condition that the applicant seek and obtain the building department review in reference to the tree bylaw, chapter 175 of the town bylaws prior to the application of a building permit. And number 7, the board finds under 174-17.1, 174-33, the proposed project as submitted is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing conditions prior to removal of the existing structure, and there is adequate land area in the subject lot to provide sufficient parking, and there are no new nonconformities being created.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much.
All done? He didn't run out.
He's up there. He'll come back.
Sure. It'll take a while, but I think the pollen finally hit this room.
All right.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Sorry. God's back.
As you should be.
Thank you.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Scott, I like all the space.
Plenty of space.
All right, you get me going both ways. Okay, here we go.
I like it.
Doing a nice job, Mike.
Oh, that's great. All right, we ready? May I proceed?
You may proceed.
Okay, let's do 15 Fiddler Place, so it'll be 4 regular members. Who did I go, was it either George or
Hold on, I
Charlie?
haven't written it
Yeah, both in the
down.
last one.
George and Charlie for the last one.
Yeah,
Charlie was last one, so
No, it's George and Charlie for the
so
last
it was
one.
George, so it should be Charlie.
I agree.
4 regular members and
I
Charlie.
accept.
That's Charlie.
Would you like to read 15 Fiddler Crab Place into the record?
I would be happy to. 15 Fiddler Crab Place, that's a great name for a street.
It is, isn't it?
Owner, Mary Ann Bekinsky, requests a written finding under 174-17 and 174-33, within 50 feet of a wetland resource area of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace a single-family dwelling on property located in the New Seabury Special Permit Area in the R3 zoning district, map 105, parcel 126, Mashpee, Mass.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Again, for the record, Attorney Chris Corain, representing the owner of 15 Fiddler Crab Place. With me tonight is Mark Dibb from Cape and Islands Engineering. We are here tonight under written finding, as you realize from one of the prior hearings, is that we are in the New Seabury Special Permit area. However, we are within 50 feet of the flood zone. So if the lot is not in the flood zone, but it is within 50 feet. So technically, it is non-conforming under 174-33. It is a raise and replace. It's a pretty straightforward project. We're slightly moving the new house away from the flood zone line, so that is improving. There was, even though arguably we don't have to comply, this new house will actually comply with R3 zoning district as far as lot coverage, setbacks and all of that, where the existing structure wouldn't, even though, as I say, we don't have to necessarily. So, I don't, there's an IA system going in, there are dry wells, it'll be building code compliant. Lot coverage is 19.69%. So in this particular case, we're not creating any new nonconformities. So really, in this case, I really see this as a straightforward project, New Seabury Special Permit area, not going to be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood.
I have a question. Right off the bat. I noticed there wasn't a 174-17-1, but it is a raise and replace, and that's because it's in the special.
That is
permit.
correct.
So the only thing we're really talking about here is a written finding 50 feet to the west.
Correct.
That is correct.
We're not talking about anything else. Right?
That is correct.
You have conservation approval.
It said it didn't even need to get conservation approval. I think if you read the comment, it wasn't in there.
Yeah, so why don't we read comments into the record, please?
Comments from Board of Health and from Conservation. First, Board of Health. New fast septic design for 3 bedrooms in Zone 2. Floor space in office meets bedroom definition, making 4 bedrooms. Removing door would void it from bedroom definition. Conservation relative to Fiddler Crab Place, not in wetlands jurisdiction.
I'm confused by that.
That's what I was.
Because there's no buffer, for conservation, there's no buffer zone to the flood zone. Because the whole lot, like a lot of these lots, the whole lot is in the flood zone, so it's Concom jurisdiction. This lot isn't in the flood zone, so to speak. It's just within the 50 feet of the line.
But I thought conservation was arguing that the flood zone was considered a resource area, so they're 150 feet from the flood zone line.
Well, you see their comment.
Yeah, I'm very confused.
Okay.
I'm not going to argue.
They've backed off a little.
Yeah. I'll defer to Mark on that.
So they've changed, so wait, I just so I understand. So they're no longer interpreting the law the following way. If the flood zone ends right here, okay, my jurisdiction from a conservation standpoint isn't 150 feet away.
I'm really confused by this.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I'm trying to put you on the spot.
As far as I know, if you're absolutely not touching 1 square inch of flood zone, then they are not applying the 150-foot.
Isn't the flood zone a resource area?
It is.
Okay.
But that doesn't make sense, because I'm not in the flood zone, and I have to go before conservation.
Special permit area.
The bottom line is out of our lane.
Right, and again,
But I'm just trying to get clarity in my own head.
no, I completely understand.
Only because it's in the special.
That is correct.
Okay.
So, just for clarity's sake here, we are only finding that it is okay to be X
Within
amount of
50.
distance within the flood zone.
That is correct. So we're
Period.
29.5 feet existing, we're going to 30.4 feet.
Yeah, and like the old way we used to do is, so you're.
So you're actually making it better?
Yeah, we are, slightly, but we are.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
unusual.
This
Yeah,
is
it's,
new.
New Seabury Special Permit area is its own entity unto itself.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
now,
so,
for now.
is that the extent of the letters, Charlie, that we have?
The only ones were Conservation and Board of
Is that
Health,
it, Mary Ann?
both read in.
David, what have you got in reference to this application?
I'm all set with it, and a written finding, I believe, is the correct way to go.
So we really can't even talk about setbacks, heights.
It's all under our
Height doesn't matter
jurisdiction, it's
either?
not under,
Oh.
that stuff is not under zoning
It's
jurisdiction.
in the new
I-
Seabury Special Permit area.
I only
I take
do
that
the
question.
setback to wetlands.
And what you're saying is, I'm sorry, David.
Yeah.
What you're saying is the setback used to be from wetland, from the flood zone, how much? 29 or something?
29.4, I think,
Taking that to 30-something.
30.5, yeah. We're moving a little bit.
So you're improving the non-conformity?
Yes, that is being
I think
improved.
this is a pretty easy application.
Yes.
Okay. So, I still have to go through the checklist. So, letters from agencies, we've read all letters. Board questions? Any other board questions?
The other thing, I'm a little surprised that Board of Health, they're okay with it. They said the office needed a cased opening, which it has.
Yep, and we removed the door.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't say anything about that cinema room.
I mean, they reviewed it and they did
Yeah.
make comments and we had to make a change.
It's kind of, they didn't comment on it, but, I mean, it's got double doors. I guess he's okay with it. I mean, it meets the definition of a bedroom. It's got privacy, it's got windows, it's got everything, but,
What do we know?
I mean, I'm just making a comment as a builder.
Yep. Well, as I said, I mean, he
Are
was
you
also
okay
careful
with
about-
that? Are you drawing a line on that, or?
No, because they did do I'm sure it's a cinema room. This thing is big and it's, the way it goes out to that patio and they got a space for the screen. I'm sure it's probably gonna be a media,
It's
CDO.
all been different the last couple of years, wouldn't you say, regarding how they count bedrooms?
Yeah, he's gotten, I don't want to use the word easier. He's backed off on what his requirements are.
agree.
From what other Board of Health agents have done. There was, Glenn was pretty set with his, he's let things close down a little bit. He's left it open, but this actually has doors and he doesn't have a problem. I don't really think it's a big deal. I mean, I don't think that's a massive bedroom. And I don't think they use it as a bedroom. It looks like it's gonna be a cinema room.
All right, so David, you're all set?
Yes.
Audience, anyone in the audience? Anyone in the audience? Seeing none. Board questions again?
No.
Motion, close the public hearing, please.
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, I'm gonna listen to this motion closely.
Okay,
Blame it on Lucy.
so we're on Sturgis.
Say again?
Nope. Fiddler crap.
Fiddler crab.
Let me get the correct one.
Fiddler crab, and the only thing they're asking for is
Got it.
relief, and they're reducing the actual non-conformity.
Yes.
Got it. Picked up the wrong piece of paper. All right, to make a motion relative to 15 Fiddler Crab Place. Owner Marianne Kinski requests a written finding under 174-17 and 174-33 within 50 feet of a wetland resource area of the zoning bylaws to raise and replace a single-family dwelling on property located in the New Seabury Special Permit area and the R3 zoning district, map 105, parcel 126, Mashpee, Mass, with the following conditions. Motion. Number one, the board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of the written finding under Mass General Laws 40A, Section 6. Number two, site plan prepared for Marianne Bakinski, Project 15, Fiddler Crab Place, Mashpee, Mass. Date March 24, 2025. Prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering, stamped and signed by Mark Dibb, number 45937, and Matt Costa, number 52282. Building plans, number 3. Prepared for Bakinski Residence, 15 Fiddler Crab Place, prepared by SRA Design and Build Architects. A1, basement floor. A2, first floor plan. A3, second floor plan. A4, proposed elevations. A5, proposed elevations. Date 3/24/25. Number 4, conditioned on all town department comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Conservation Department and Board of Health. Number 5, any changes to the plans will require the applicant to return to this board. Number 6, condition that the applicant seek and obtain the building department review in reference to the pre-bylaw, Chapter 175, of the town bylaws prior to the application of a building permit. And number 7, the board finds under 174-17 and 174-33 that the proposed project is submitted is not substantially more detrimental than the pre-existing non-conforming structure or use to either the town or the neighborhood, and that there is adequate land area on the subject lot to provide sufficient parking, and there are no new nonconformities being created.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Here.
Looks like there's only one.
Look at all this. Paper, paper.
John?
It's like Mr. George.
You already started, Mary Ann. Okay.
Coming out to Johnny.
Nice. Paper shuffle.
Mary Ann. John?
Yep.
One back.
All right, coming.
Back, all right. Okay, so we're ready. So, last application, which is 27 Sturgis, will be 4 regular men?
And George.
Oh, yeah, and George.
And George.
So,
And one.
I'm gonna wear you out, Charlie. How about reading this last one?
I got it.
Hang in there, buddy.
And at the
Thank you,
very
Charlie.
end of tonight's meeting is 27 Sturgis Lane. Owner Darrell Stewart Sharp requests a written finding under 174-17 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to allow for construction of access stairs to a proposed dock, repair an existing dock, deck, and pump house, all within 50-foot setback to wetlands on property located in an R5 zoning district, map 20, parcel 9, Mashpee, Mass.
Good evening again. For the record, Attorney Christopher Crane representing Darrell Sharp, who happens to be with me today in the back. This is his property located at 27 Sturgis Lane in Mashpee. What we are proposing is a set of access stairs, which are shown here, where really there's basically, I don't know, 4x4s embedded into the coastal bank. And then there's an existing concrete deck and a pump house here that we're going to repair and replace. So and these 2 sheds are being removed, to the back of the property, but they're not really, or the front of the property. But basically what we're here tonight is a written finding, because obviously all of these are within 50 feet of the wetland resource area. So a new set of access stairs and repairing, maintaining the concrete deck and, or replacing, and the pump house. So again, a pretty straightforward project that's been approved by Conservation. As you can see in the green here and here, there's extensive invasives that are being replaced in mitigation. The access stairs will certainly be a benefit to the coastal bank. So instead of having to traverse your way down and disturbing the bank, now you have a set of stairs that will protect that inland bank. And again, the deck and the pump house are existing, so we're not really changing anything other than you're basically replacing it in kind.
But they're not close together, so it's not like that.
I'm happy to answer any questions the board may
What's
have.
a pump
What's
house
the pump
for?
house pump?
I'm not sure. Darryl? Irrigation.
Irrigation?
Oh, okay.
Could we read letters into the record, please, Charlie?
Well, all we have is, we have Board of Health and we have Conservation.
That'd be great. If you could read them, be greatly appreciated.
Board of Health, no comment.
Great job.
How's that?
Well done.
Conservation, but relative to 27 Sturgis Lane. Resource areas, island bank, land underwater bodies, and rare species habitat. NOI application was approved unanimously for improvements to the property that include restoration of the inland bank, stormwater management system in driveway, mitigation, plantings, and access stair construction to protect the bank down to the dock system. Conditions are filter socks included on limit of work, free mitigation and monitoring contract with a certified professional, and erosion mats installed on the inland bank.
So, board questions. I have one quick one. So I thought Mashpee Wakeby wasn't there a point where they weren't allowing motorized boats there?
No, that's not true.
What pond was that? Wasn't there a pond in town they were doing that?
Giant's Pond? I don't know.
No, it's
You're
the-
thinking of Santuit Pond.
Oh, okay, right.
That was Santuit.
I mean, there are other houses that have piers, you know.
Yeah, no, I was just,
Oh, there's a lot of boats on that lake.
There's a lot of boats that way.
There's a boat ramp.
I don't do any boating
A
on.
lot of rainbow trout in it.
I've never-
Your boat won't fit there.
No.
I'm just curious, the pump house, Mr. Sharp, if you can pump water from the pond for irrigation? I didn't know, I didn't know you could do that. I'm just more curious.
They do it on the cranberry bog on the other side. It's a cranberry bog.
Well, it's good.
I'm just more curious.
Yeah, conservation approved it.
Yeah, I didn't know that was something you can do.
I neither, it's news.
It's,
Okay.
oh, it's a well.
It's a well, okay.
Oh, it's a well, and it's a pump just because it's going up. Oh, okay. I thought it made it sound like you were pumping from the pond.
That's what we weren't
You got a
sure.
hose in the
It
pond. you're
indirectly
pumping it up.
pumps from the pond, it's just 20 feet away
You
from
got
the
a trash
pond.
pump, and he's pumping up. Okay, thank you for clearing that up for me.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Proposed relocated sheds.
Yes. I will.
So explain that, I know, I thought you said you were removing the sheds.
No, they're being relocated. They're being removed outside of any buffer areas, but they're going up well outside of jurisdiction for conservation.
So you're not creating any new nonconformities?
Nope.
So they're going from here.
Right. And we're obviously improving the situation through the mitigation, removal of invasives, and, you know, and putting up a set of stairs is better for the bank than what's going on there now. I did provide photographs of the inland bank where they traverse, it's just a, you know, it's a gnarly.
Ecological area.
Let's see.
Conservation's happy with it, so I got no
Yeah,
issues.
you have to approve that before even conservation can approve it. It's a state permit.
So do we have anything from the harbor master?
He very rarely gives comments.
Zero.
Amazing.
Well, I guess the question is, does he comment on the pond?
I presume you've gotten the, 401 permit, whatever it is for the, no?
That's outside of my jurisdiction.
Well, it's outside of mine too, I'm just wondering.
Maybe, I don't know how that process works. I'm not part of that process.
I
I
actually,
guess it's outside of ours too, but I know that there's, I think, don't you have to go to like,
I actually know a little about this.
so shoot.
All freshwater docks have to be approved by the state, and the harbor master, you have to register your dock with the harbor master, and they inspect it.
And I can tell you, I don't remember the last time the harbor master gave us comments on a dock.
And I would also say,
It's been a long time.
Should we put those in the decision?
I would just caution the board because
I-
docks are exempt from
Eric,
174.
and I think Chris's point, Attorney Coran's point is, we're only concerned with the parts that are not exempted from 17433, and that would be any alterations to the pump house, the deck that's there, and the stairs. So that's all we're concerned with. They do, all three of them need a building permit. The dock does not need to be not need a building permit, and will not be inspected by my office.
But the harbor master will.
And the other thing is Chapter 91, is which I signed, and that goes to the state. That's in the state's jurisdiction. So we're not concerned with it at all.
If you read 17433, it's specifically exempt docks from 50-foot buffer.
All right, so let me just go through my checklist here. Anyone in the audience? No? See, any more letters? We've read all the letters into the record, right? Okay, any more board questions in here? Motion to close the public hearing, please.
Motion so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay,
So,
motion,
David, you've got no issues at all, right?
I have no issue. Just that they need to apply for a building permit for those alterations that aren't
Got it.
exempted.
motion for the, in reference to the application, please.
Motion relative to 27 Sturgis Lane. Owner, Darrell Stewart Sharp, requests a written finding on the 174-17 and 174-33 of the zoning bylaws to allow for construction of access stairs to a proposed dock, repair an existing deck and pump house, all within 50 feet setback to wetlands on property located in an R5 zoning district, map 20, parcel 9, Mashpee, Mass. with the following conditions. Motion. Number one, the board has determined that the applicant meets all the conditions of a written finding under Mass General Laws 40A, Section 6. Number two, site plan prepared for Darrell S. Sharp, Project 27 Sturgis Lane, Mashpee, Mass. Sheet number 1 of 1, date January 13th, 2025. Date 3/4/25. Revised driveway layout, add grading and pier details, date 4/29/25. Add mitigation, drainage, and adjust pier length. Prepared by Cape and Islands Engineering, stamped and signed by Charles Rowland, number 52699, and Jacob Frick, number 59305. Number three, condition in all town department comments read into the record, including but not limited to the Conservation Department and Board of Health. Number four, any changes to the plans will require the applicant to return to this board. And number five, the board finds under 174-17 and 174-33 that the proposed project is not substantially more detrimental than the pre-existing non-conforming structure or use to either the town or the neighborhood.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Very good.
Good luck. Very good.
Have a great night.
Take care. Thank you.
I was gonna say, Mike might be in for a rude awakening, having 11 o'clock and midnight meetings with the planning board, when you guys are meeting out at 7:30.
Earliest we've gotten out in a
Good
long
luck,
time.
Mike.
Oh, we knocked out a lot tonight.
Did Mike get elected? Yes, he did, right?
He never even run against him. It's
good
hard not to
reason.
get
Good reason.
elected.
I voted for him, so
Yeah, I voted.
number
How
one,
about,
he's
how
in.
about,
Mike Richardson get in.
good.
But, what's his name, did not.
No.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of April 23rd, 2025.
Second
Second.
that.
I abstain, I wasn't here.
All those in favor?
Aye.
George, would you like to make a motion?
I'd like to make the motion to close tonight's meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Night.